Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, where you can be a member of the Shannons Club. Pace Farm the Enjoyable Egg, HARE&FORBES Machinery House, and GUNLAKE Quarries.
G'day, I'm Fletch, and you're about to see an epoxy floor segment that would look very cool at your place. A little bit of GM action from Carlisle Pennsylvania, United States of America, and a bloke here with some of his collection from Bowral, New South Wales, in this week's Classic Restos on the road. Having a really nice shed or a barn is one thing, but how about a really nice floor to complement it? There's no doubt that a high gloss floor is incredibly easy to maintain. It will add a little extra value to your real estate, and with aesthetic appeal, they look absolutely fantastic. So these coatings have always had me interested. On this episode of Classic Restos, you're going to see how a standard boring concrete slab floor is transformed into a masterpiece that's easy to keep clean and will help showcase your toys and what is inside your shed or barn. And to tell us more, here's Michael from MDK Platinum.
So we're doing an epoxy floor for this customer. They've got a brand new shed with a nice blank canvas for us to work on. So the advantages of doing an epoxy floor is it seals the concrete surface. So whenever I used to think of epoxy floors, I always used to think of that warehouse finish with just a standard grey floor, but that's certainly not the case. I've certainly found since doing this business that there's a whole range of colours and options out there to make the floor pretty much whatever you want it to be. You can have your solid colours, and even those solid colours come in a premium tint range, and you can have right up to bright red, gloss yellow, whatever colour you desire, the colours are available. We've also got other options with our Ultraflakes and Hyperflake systems. Ultraflakes, they come in a range of different sizes. We can do from full broadcast through to partial broadcast of the flakes, so you can either see more of the backing colour coming through or less, and then there's a whole range of colours on those and different custom combinations to suit your liking. Every enthusiast, whether it be bikes, cars, trucks, whatever you're into, we're always going to drop something on the floor, whether it be oil, whether it be fuel, and look, with the epoxy floors and the finishes that we do, they're a completely sealed floor. They finish with a high gloss clear, which seals all the colour, but it also traps any contaminants onto the top of the surface. So anything that we do spill, just get a damp cloth and it just wipes straight off. And that can be from hot tyre marks when you drive and park in your garage, right through to brake fluids and the others when you're working on your car in the shed. We're going to start the process today with the grinding of the floor. In any job that we do, prep work is pretty much the most important part of the job. And yeah, so we're going to run the grinders, scratch up the surface and get it ready for coating. We use a planetary grinder and single head grinders for that process. They're basically electric tools with diamond plugs that sit on the head of the machine. They spin and shave the top off the top layer off the concrete. Basically just scuffing it back, getting it ready to accept the first coat of epoxy. The dusty part of the work's out of the way. We've done a grind, cut back on the concrete surface here, which then takes us into our first step, or our next step, should I say, which is the first coat of the tinted epoxy. So it's a primer coat. What will happen, we'll put that coat on and it'll seal the current floor. It'll soak into the grinded surface. The product that we use is it's a brush and roll application. So what we mix it into buckets, into the quantities, and we'll go around, we'll cut cut in edges, and then we pour lines and spread that with a roller to get you nice even coverage across the floor. So, and when we roll one way, then we generally will put spike shoes on, and so that we can walk on the wet epoxy, and then we back roll in the opposite direction to get an even coverage to even spread, even coverage, and just to give you that good look at the end. So the slab that we're working on today was quite a good slab. It's relatively new. It was quite level and no patching to be done on this particular slab, which was really good. We do see all forms of concrete surfaces. A lot of them will have shrinkage cracks. Some of them will have some minor damage and whatnot, which we have a product, an epoxy, a ceramic, which we use to fill those cracks and holes. And so, irrespective of what the surface is like, there's generally something that we can do to fix it up. But like I said, we've been pretty fortunate today to be able to just grind this one, vacuum up the excess dust, and we're ready to coat. So.
Like Dad, I've always been a Ford man. The Falcon Squire wagon was unloved in 1964, but turns heads today. The Americans call them woodies, but the panelling, it's just fiberglass and plastic. But it's a passion that Shannons understands, which is why my Fords are insured with Shannons. And now, so's the home.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
HARE&FORBES Machinery House has been family owned and operated for over 85 years, and it's easy to see why. Planning on welding? Look at these welding tables and clamps, air compressors and different air tools, sandblasting cabinets, through to spray guns. Everyone is welcome at Machinery House. There are competitive freight rates around Australia, and you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. So remember, HARE&FORBES has the range.
As you can see, we've done the first coat, and as I promised, it's going to look patchy. It's sucked in really well to the concrete, and so now that's all sealed. So our next process is a second coat of the tinted epoxy, which will give you a nice glossy base for us then to throw the flakes on, which will also happen in this stage. So when we put the product down, while it's still wet and tacky, we throw the flakes so they actually have some that sticks to the floor. The process that we've actually undertaking for this shed, it's even though you're watching it on a segment which will run for a short period of time, the actual process does take over 3 to 4 days. 3 days, fortunately, for this process, due to the fact that we didn't have to do much patching on the floor, which was good. But generally, we would do the grinding and patching on day one. We let that cure. The second day, we would come in and do the first coat, which is what we see now. We give that another 24 hours to cure. And then we come in, we do this next stage, which we're doing today, with the flake. And then there's another period after that, which we let that cure. And then we will come in, and the next stage after this will be to scrape back the flakes to take off any sharp edges, and then apply the clear coats. So for a full process for a shed or a garage or any surface really is generally between 3 and 5 days, depending on the quality of the concrete. 2 days after our last shoot, when we put the second coat down and we poured through the flake. Today the process will be we're going to use floor scrapers, and we're going to scrape the tops off the flakes. The reason we do that is because every now and again, well, when we throw them, the flakes sometimes will land on their sides and they'll have a sharp edge. If we just cleared over the top of that, we create a bunch of blades under your feet, and you can cut yourself open every time you walk on your floor, and that's not what we want to achieve. So our first process, scrape the floor, get the tops off, and then we're going to go wet on wet with the clear coats. And today's the grand finale, the final end of this masterpiece that we have here in front of us. This is the part that the clients always love, because when we walk away today, there's going to be a really high gloss finish to the floor. It's going to look amazing, and yeah, that's going to be us done today. So look, my name's Michael from MDK Platinum. If there's anybody out there that needs any advice or any, we can help you in any way, shape or form, with any of our coatings on your surfaces, please check us out at www.mdkplatinum.com.au.
It's been a while since I've visited my close friends at Carlisle Events, Pennsylvania, and this year hosted the Chevy Nationals there. And they sent me a piece that I thought that you might like to see. Here's the media guy from Carlisle Events, Mike Garland.
Thanks a lot, Fletch. It's a beautiful sunny day in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, United States. And even though you have not been to an event here in Carlisle in quite some time, you're never too far from our thoughts. So while you're enjoying the car culture down under, we wanted to share a little bit of the car culture that we recently got to experience as part of the Carlisle Chevrolet Nationals. At the Carlisle event at the 2020 Carlisle Chevrolet Nationals. See it, smell it, and feel it. Nitro Fest with drag racing legend Bruce Larson. We celebrated the Nova, the Montecarlo, and making a very special appearance at the Carlisle Chevrolet Nationals in 2020, the all-new C8 Corvette. Chevrolet Weekend is always a super sensory experience. All new for this year, a multi-round exhaust contest. As you can see, Fletch, it was a really cool weekend at Carlisle as part of this year's Carlisle Chevrolet Nationals.
Well, how cool was that? Just a little, featuring the 2020 Chevy Nationals from Carlisle Events, Pennsylvania, United States of America. Now, it's not so much keep the best till last, but I know you're a sticky beak, right? So now it's time to look inside another guy's shed.
With me now, the man himself, Victor Whipp. How are you, Vic?
Good, Fletch, real good.
You enjoying yourself today?
Yeah, loving it, mate.
You've got a nice shed here, bits and pieces everywhere.
Thank you.
It's another one of these scenarios where we see a roller door, we just have to see on the other side.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, mate. No problem.
Thank you, Vic. Now, you've got a few things in here that mean a lot to you. The old Ford behind us here, that's really something.
Yep, yeah, I've had that since '69.
Isn't that good? To get to 2020 and speak to a guy that has had this truck for so long, 1969. So round about the time you were driving it quite often, that was a daily runner for you?
No, Dad used to drive it because I didn't have a licence back then. And yeah, and then when I got my licence, it was my toy, and yeah.
So how do you feel having a vehicle now that you knew your dad drove?
Oh, mate, it's unbelievable to look back and still have it. And it's good to be able to get in the old thing and feel the difference of it compared to the new ones, you know. It was good.
In its own way, it still feels nice to drive?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's a nice old thing.
Isn't it funny, we can come 50, 60 years in a vehicle, but it doesn't always necessarily mean that we've come 50 or 60 years in ride quality.
That's Right, there's no air conditioner, no heater.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, the vehicles today are more safe, the metals that are used are different, but when we talk in terms of actual ride quality, in terms of comfort, some of our old cars, they're just unbelievable.
Oh yeah, this old girl rides all right. Yeah. I had an F250 and this old girl, she hasn't got the power, but it rides as good as it.
Yeah, it really says something. And what powers it up front, Victor?
And the old side valve V8, it's the 8PA motor, the last of the side valves.
I like the look of this truck too. I mean, when the door first opened up, Victor, and I had a good look at it, it's almost got a sporty look about it. It's got slightly wider wheels. It looks great.
Yeah. I got the original wheels here, but these come along and I just fitted them on and they turned out good.
The tray at the back, nice job there. What sort of timber is that?
Just ordinary hardwood. Yeah. And I've just stained it. And then just built the whole body out of steel. She turned out all right.
We look inside the interior. What a time capsule there. It's so sparse, but it's cool the way it looks.
Yep, and it's pretty well original.
So, Victor, for 1969, we're looking at a 1942 truck. It was old then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Used to do the milk run out of Carlisle Vale. And yeah, she was looked after, I suppose.
Now, Vic, you've got some toys here. Looking around, you've got a Blitz in the back there. You drive a Kenworth every day of the week. Yeah. You never stop.
No, it's a good life.
But you're going to stop next year, though, right?
I hope so. Yeah.
Little bird told me you might retire next year.
Yeah, I think I'll give it away. And try and get some more of these.
But at least with what you do, you're out and about, you're on your own in the cab of the truck. What sort of a lifestyle is that?
Great, really good. And I don't have to be away overnight. I'm home every night, so it's my lifestyle.
Isn't that good?
Yeah, you look forward to it.
The Blitz, the yellow one in the back there, what's the story on that?
That used to be at the mill at Mittagong for years, but they pulled the mill down, sold it to a bloke out the Caves Road, and I went to get a steering box for my other Blitz. He said, I could have it for $200, so I bought it. And I called in home to my mum's at Welby and had it on the back of the float, and she come out and she spotted a couple of items on it. She went inside and got the photo album out and bought it. She said, here's a photo of this old thing when you were 2-year-old, and that's your dad in there driving it. And yeah, so instead of stripping it down, wrecking it, I built it up.
Victor, when we look at a Blitz, they were designed for the war.
Exactly, yeah. And they were only virtually kids drove them, like young kids, you know.
Very seldom have we seen one in great condition. I mean, they've been flogged, but this one here, it's about as nice as what a Blitz can be.
Oh, it was flogged, but it's come back, been rejuvenated.
I like your console up on the roof there, where you've got your UHF radio, and you've put a bit of attention to detail to that. And again, I haven't really seen that with a Blitz. It's not the sort of vehicle that people go to that much trouble with today.
That's right. Yeah, no, I've put a bit of time into it.
I love the history of what you've got here. You've got a photo board with this Ford truck here behind us on there, and looking at those photos, and it must take you back even when you look at photos like that.
Yes, it does. But yeah, I love spending the time on them.
Do you ever wonder where the years have gone?
Yeah, you do. It gets away quick.
Indeed, Vic, it is all about the lifestyle, isn't it?
It is. Yep, that's right. And you know, you've just got to keep working if you're going to keep your toys.
I was 16 when I first saw her. Loved her utterly. She was so sweet, so perfect. Still is. She's got a whopping great 2-stroke engine under that gorgeous aerodynamic body. Insurance? Well, Shannons, of course.
No one knows your passion like Shannons. That's why we offer special limited usage rates and even club plate cover. So call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
When it comes time for you to insure your Blitz or any other classic, why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote and a chat on 134646. And the Shannons Club awaits you. For more information, visit shannons.com.au.
Well, here's my shed. This is where I spend a hell of a lot of my time. and enjoy every minute of it. It's got everything I want to do what I want to do around the old vehicles, and you know, whatever's got to be done, I do it up in here. And yeah, I just love it. There was an old shed here, the same size, but it had no windows fitted in it, no door, no cement, it was just on dirt. I put up with that for a fair few years till I had to have something to lock up. And now it's my palace now. I love it. Every minute I get up here and play in it, you know. Come home after work, park the truck up, just get up here and do what I want to do. At my own leisure. That's the part I like. I don't have to pressure myself. To have a shed like this and have a hobby, it just takes the stress off you. I just look forward to getting up here every weekend and playing up here. You know, I've got me a couple of welders, like the old Sticky and the MIG, press drill, a couple of good sized compressors. I'm pretty well self-sufficient. Got a good press up the back for when I want to press bearings and that off with, you know. It's good, and I've got the folder for folding a few panels. It's great having what you want, you know. All of them old side valves run except for one. They're all, one of them has been fully rebuilt. I keep it as a spare for all the vehicles. Yeah, it's good to have spare backup, you know. When I first started out the bush with the old Blitz logging, got a motor that was already done up and fitted in it. And I registered it in '79, and it was only about 5 years ago that I pulled that motor out, and it had done a bearing after all that time. My honest opinion, the old side valve Ford V8, they're just a marvel and so reliable. No doubt about in Detroit when Henry Ford decided to bolt two 4-cylinder motors together, he came up with gold. In them engines, they were gold. Yeah, this truck here behind us means the world to me. It's I've had it since '69, and yeah, and I've stripped it right down, rebuilt it. It's my pride and joy. Back in the early days, they used to name the truck after their girlfriend or something like that, but I've named this one after my granddaughter. Well, I only had the one granddaughter at the time, but yeah. They never put chrome on them back them days. It was always, you painted it to suit, but I sent all that away and got it chromed, and I reckon it makes it look real good. When you're out in it, it's just a great feeling, especially to drive up the street and see people look at it, you know. It's a great feeling to have that. When they first come out, they must have felt real proud to own something as modern as that back in them days, you know, like the way I feel now, even driving it, it's great. So you can imagine how they felt when they first got it, you know. Would have been a great thing. To have something as old as that and to be in as good a condition, you know, it makes you feel good to have a vehicle as good as it, and to be able to get around town in it, no, it's good. Yeah, I just love it to get out in it, just me and my truck, and just go for a quiet drive. It's beautiful.
Well, I hope you've really enjoyed this week's episode of Classic Restos, filmed in Bowral, New South Wales, home of Don Bradman and the Cricket Museum and Cafe. And this week's episode, of course, featured the epoxy floor segment from MDK Platinum, a few highlights from the Chevy Nationals from Carlisle events, Pennsylvania, United States of America, and of course, some of the collection from old mate here, Victor Whip. I hope you've really enjoyed the show. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. you can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au.
Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, where you can be a member of the Shannons Club. Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, HARE&FORBES Machinery House, and GUNLAKE Quarries.